Hello, my fellow individuals. I am Mr. Mini Mask Man here, and today I'm going to review Season 7, Episode 4 of The Walking Dead. Now, obviously, if you've not seen the episode yet, then please do not watch this review. I apologize, as it contains spoilers, and possible comic book spoilers as well, in case you don't want to get spoiled with that. Alright, so this episode was a 90-minute special, which is kind of weird. They added, like, between the season. It's usually either, like, around... Actually, no. This did happen one time in the, I think it was last season with the Morgan episode. That was, like, in the middle of, somewhere in Season 6, I think, in the beginning. So, okay, never mind. This was nothing new. But, anyways, okay, so 90-minute special. Now, okay, this episode... I felt was more I think it's just kind of saying, hey, this is Negan and the Savior. It's just trying to keep pushing to say, hey, these guys are bad. These guys, especially Negan specifically, is just toying with Rick, and you just kind of see him. He just keeps going and going, until Rick learns his place, and which we kind of got that impression in, like, especially around the end of the episode. But, but there was a moment where you can tell Rick is going to have a comeback and snap. When Negan was bashing that walker with this big, huge, I think it was a candle pole or something. And Rick had Lucille, what Negan told him to hold. And he was just, he was like shaking and holding it like he wanted to strike Negan, just at that time. But obviously he can't. So, okay, let me think, some interesting here, some... things or points that I've seen in this episode. Now, one of the first things I thought was kind of weird was, or kind of off, or just not a good choice about what they're doing with Dwight. In this episode, he was just really, they made him come back to more of a douche. How, especially how he was treating Rosita. I think it was just kind of unnecessary. He can maybe tease her a little bit and stuff like that, but like, just full out, like taking her stuff, taking her cap for no reason, taking her water, just pouring out the water for them not to drink while they're going out. It just kind of like make you say, okay, now I hate this guy again. Or we kind of show a little bit of sympathy or know about him in the third episode, and then they just kind of went again with this, and people are just saying, oh, now I hate Dwight. Which I honestly, I don't think they should have went too much with Dwight on that, Because now it's kind of like we have to restart again to feel this sympathy or know why Dwight, comic book spoiler by the way, if you don't want to hear this, but or Dwight switches sides, he joins Rick, the guys from the Hilltop and the Kingdom, So I don't know, it's not going to be people. I think even if he does switch sides, people are still not going to like him anyways. So it's just kind of like that small chance that people might kind of understand Dwight is almost like it's just been erased, and then we have to restart again, to get to know him better, to sympathize with him, understand more about him, to kind of grow into him, But it just kind of felt like that's basically just gone now, and it's going to take a while again, for them to restart that process. But at least that's what I thought about with Dwight. Now, there is an interesting thing I did read with Daryl that I didn't notice. I'm going to admit I didn't notice. I noticed until I read this online, and I believe it's true because of two things. Daryl never talked or communicated with Rick or anybody. He was just doing what he had to do there under Negan's orders. And when Rick was telling him, can we have Daryl back? And Negan's like, well, that depends on him. And then, Daryl, what do you think? And Daryl, it's kind of hard to see because of his hair, but you kind of see like he's been blinking quite a bit. I thought it was just him, the usual squinting, but I guess it was kind of, he's been blinking a little bit. Like, I've rewatched it, and there was moments where you can see he was blinking a little more than usual. And, well, people pointed out on the internet that it was Morse code. And there's even like an image and a scene in this episode where it shows these different sizes of Morse code. So it's kind of like hintity hint. So he was maybe communicating with Rick through Morse code about something, maybe their location or, I don't know, somebody analyzed the Morse code yet. But something, he must have told Rick something, if that is true, with the whole Morse code thing. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I honestly did not catch that, so it was good job on that. Alright, so Michonne's character is definitely going to parallel with Andrea's character in the comics. You know, Andrea's not dead in the comics. She's with Rick. But obviously in the show, Michonne's with Rick. So when you see her learning with this, you know, whole sniping, that's Andrea's role in the comics. So it's kind of weird a little bit to see Michonne with a gun in general instead of her usual katana, which we kind of see, you know, when she was practicing, she was missing all those shots, and she just ended up killing the walker with her katana. But she did shoot the, you know, kill the deer through that result. But obviously, I think we're gonna see more Michonne trying to learn how to snipe, just for that moment that's gonna come up soon, you know, in the series, which you guys will find out. But I thought it was when Michonne's role, I'm kind of just letting it as it go because it's just somebody's got to play that role, and obviously since Michonne's with Rick, they're trying to. She's in parallels with Andrea, or in comparison, so she has to play Andrea's role. Obviously, Andrea died in the series, so she has to fill those shoes. Just like Carol is filling out Michonne's role in the comics with Ezekiel. I assume that, you know, Carol's gonna end up being with Ezekiel, just like Michonne is in the comics. So they're just kind of switching some characters up to fill these different roles from the comics. But anyways, yeah. So I thought it was kind of interesting seeing Michonne with that role with the rifle and all that. Oh man, but freaking what's it called? I thought it was interesting. I kind of focused a little bit more on Rosita too, where she, out of all the people in Alexandria, she's the one that she still wants to fight back. It's like she has to find a way, and she even told Spencer, you know, if we're not going to live this way, you know, being as slaves or serving under Negan's rule, you know, obviously she wants to fight. And, you know, at the very end of the series where she tells Eugene to make the bullet, Eugene in the comics is the one that smiths and makes these bullets. So it's going to start this process for Eugene now. For this point on, his important role for the community is making bullets for their weapons and all that, for Alexandria and the future for everyone else. So I thought it was a pretty interesting ending how it ended there too. But it's more like the start of Eugene's role is where it just ended there. Now I would say with a little bit with Carl. You see Carl still wants to stand up against Negan and all that. It's kind of like, damn, you know, he's still standing up against them. But at the same time, you're like, don't do anything because you don't want to get anyone else killed. It's like, have you not learned your lesson? But it's kind of like 2 in 1. It's like you want him to stand up because you're just tired of seeing people fear Negan, especially Rick. Just kind of like be like, you know, don't want to do anything, or don't want to fight back, don't want to say anything back because they're afraid. Well, Carl isn't, and Rosita, obviously, obviously she's had that traumatic experience when they killed Abraham, especially in front of her. So, but she wants vengeance, you know, that's in her. While Carl doesn't want to back down. So I kind of like it when Carl goes up against Negan, but at the same time, it's kind of like, let's do it in a smarter way, you know, without, you know, costing someone else's life in there, you know. So I'm just kind of like, oh, Carl, just stay back just a bit, just a bit. I like your spirit, but stay back, hold back just a bit, you know, before you do anything. So, well, obviously he does something much worse. Not like bad, but after the whole Saviors arc, again, comic book spoiler, they're going to introduce another group of villains called the Whisperers. And let's just say the conflict between the Whisperers and everybody else is basically thanks to Carl. Which I was kind of ticked off of what happened in there. So it's kind of like, it could have been prevented if Carl just didn't do this specific action. But anyways, we're not in that arc. No, we're not even close to that yet. We're just starting the Saviors arc. So yeah. Now, what I'm thinking is, will Carl... I thought it was during this meeting that Carl's the one that sneaks in the truck. when the Saviors leave, because in the comics he sneaks in the truck, and he comes out with the gun trying to kill Negan, but obviously they get him in time. And instead, Negan shows him his compound, where what the Saviors do, what he's about. He shows him everything that's going on to Carl, and he lets him go, with a warning and all that. But it was an interesting way where we kind of see Negan warming up to Carl in a way, which is kind of it was an interesting connection there between the two. But obviously Carl still hates Negan, but it was just kind of a weird, like, Carl just kind of looked at him in a weird way, like, of how Negan is in general. So, and guys how Negan is, he's kind of plays back and forth between his comical side, his comical, cool, chill side, and with his corny jokes, and all that, and then his, like, freaking dead serious side. When you see his look, he's serious. It's like, just shut up. Just let him speak. But yeah, I can't remember. I thought it was in the first visit when he does that. I guess it won't be until the second visit. But the second visit, when Negan and the rest come back, something does important happen there. Another character death, and comic book spoiler once more. So, comic book spoiler right now. Spencer gets killed by Negan. And during the second visit, because I forgot where Rick was. Rick was doing something. He was not there. I think he was just meeting with the kingdom, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Like Jesus, I think, is showing him the kingdom. Someone did. So he was away. And then Spencer was talking to Negan during the second visit. By taking their stuff and whatever. And Spencer was telling Negan, what if I kill Rick, I take him out, he won't be an issue to you, so he'll be out of the picture, I'll be cool with you, we'll get in this agreement, and I promise I won't cause you any trouble, unlike Rick. I don't even trust Rick, I don't like Rick. And Negan's kind of like, huh, so you're willing, to betray this guy, your leader, that's been keeping you guys together and saving you and all that. And Spencer's like, yeah, and all that. And then the famous line where Negan says, well, what? He's like, it's like you don't have guts. He basically called him a coward. And as he says that, he gets a knife and he just slices horizontally Spencer's stomach, and his guts and intestines start falling out. And then Negan's like, oh, what do you know? You do have it. One of his dark humor there. And kills Spencer right in the spot. And I know a lot of people want Spencer killed. He's just, God, freaking Spencer. You just hate the guy. Yeah, he's one of those characters where you can, get rid of him. Just get rid of him. He's just going to cause more issues. Especially what he said, about Abraham and Glenn when Rick was walking away. It was kind of like, yeah, get him out. Get him out. It's going to be one of those characters where people will be like, finally, I think, so yeah, from going back to that, I'm not sure if they're still going to go with that, or they're maybe going to take out that element, or that part, just out of it in the show. So completely just cut that out, and just move on. So I'm not sure yet. Unless Carl will do that in the next visit, somehow? I don't know, they'll work something out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Carl in that situation. But for sure, I believe it is the second visit when Negan comes back. If they stick with the comics, I'm pretty sure Spencer's going to die, and I'm pretty sure the same way. So, if they show what Negan did with Glenn and Abraham, I'm pretty sure they're going to show what he's going to do with Spencer in detail. So, yeah. Now, alright, so what I felt in this episode as a whole, where it was all the episodes just Negan more, just basically telling in Rick's face and ours as the viewers to say, hey, we're in control now. And he's basically still breaking Rick. He already broke Rick, and he was just basically making a point, He's trying to tell him, hey, just to let you know, I'm still the boss here, you work for me, I own you, I own everything you have. And they start, taking stuff. You kind of see the Saviors are just douchebags in general. And all that. And then, Negan being Negan, being humorous and all that. You see, a few serious moments. So I always kind of like that switch when it does, where Negan's typical funny guy, ha ha ha, kind of happy, cheery, campy personality, and then in a minute, when he hears something goes wrong, he just snaps, and you can just tell that. I always love that expression. It's like the most serious expression, like a frown expression. He kind of gives that stare, and then he just does what he has to do or says what he has to say. Now with Rick here, when he tells the community that he's no longer in charge, that they're all under Negan's control now. So Negan's in charge, and from now on they have to give half of their stuff weekly, if I recall, to them. And then especially the part that had issues where they have to give all of their guns to Negan and the Saviors. Until the whole two-gun situation where Negan was gonna kill Olivia, even though he says he doesn't like killing women and children. That's one of his rules. Like, he doesn't want to, he hates doing that, but if it's necessary, he'll do it, So it was one of those cases. So he was trying to make a point to give in that fear again to Olivia, especially to Rick, to say to find those two guns, or else he'll kill Olivia. And obviously we find out that Spencer had the guns the whole time. So, again, Spencer. But yeah, and then Rosita goes out and she kills the people that killed Denise from last season. That little small group of the Saviors, the Walker virgins now, if I'm not mistaken, when she goes back to do that. You just want to release that anger and rage, vengeance, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. So yeah, we kind of see Rick especially around the end when they took the mattresses and all that and just left. When he was talking to Michonne, they even took friggin' Michonne's deer, on top of that. And it was like telling Rick was telling Michonne that that's just something they have to live with from now on. He's given up. You can just kind of tell he's given up because he's afraid to lose anyone else. And then he points out especially to Judith, where he talks back, back in the Shane days, and he confirms. We actually hear a confirmation from him, and I think most of us already knew, but now it's like a legitimate just confirmation where he says, "I know Judith's not my kid." He says, "I already know it, but I still take care of her. I still treat her like my daughter because in a way she is my daughter, and he loves her and he wants her to survive and teach her survival. So he's doing this to protect her, to protect everybody that he's held responsible for. So he doesn't want to lose any more lives. He just doesn't. Because of that so-called traumatic experience with Negan. So you can tell Rick he's given up and all that, but you can tell that small spark, like I said, when Negan was killing that walker and he had Lucille in his hand. Like he was just crunching, like he was just ready to swing it. But obviously, guys, trust me. Again, spoiler. Over here, future spoiler. Rick is gonna snap back, and he's gonna plan. They're gonna make a plan to get rid of Negan and the Saviors, which will eventually lead to All-Out War, which is my favorite part of the Saviors arc. Once they start that part, which I think in that pace, I think that might start around, I think I mentioned this before, I don't know, around the mid-season finale or the very end, like the season finale, is when they'll just start All-Out War, and then all Season 8 is All-Out War arc. So, I'm gonna go with that. If they're in this little, somewhat slower pace, I think All-Out War is gonna start out around the end of Season 7. If they're gonna go kind of slow here. So let's just say that All-Out War will probably start at the end of Season 7, and Season 8, almost all of Season 8, or all of it, will be All-Out War, the All-Out War arc. But anyways, what happens is, there's people asking why didn't Rick have a sniper ready, like Michonne or whatever, or had guns like outside the gates and start shooting them and killing them all. Well, obviously Daryl was there, so that was a big risk. So that's why I assume maybe one of the reasons why Negan, besides to taunt Rick and Daryl, is just for that case. But in the comics, they actually do that. They planned it out for his third meeting, when he comes back the third time. is when they actually try to kill him. They had, in the comics, it was Andrea ready with the sniper rifle. But in this case, I assume it's going to be Michonne. And all these people are waiting. Like, they're just all shooting on trying to kill Negan. They kill a couple of the saviors. But Negan was prepared, and he had men actually in the woods, boom, just come out. Because he had a feeling. He always has a plan B. Negan always has a plan B. So he already has other men waiting to make it look like it was just him and a few men. But then in reality, he has like a bunch of people come out. And they start fighting and retaliating while Negan makes his escape. And then that's when they declare all-out war. That's how it starts. When they try to assassinate Negan at the gates. So I know people are asking why they didn't just do it immediately. Now, I know one of the things was, I don't think, on top of that, they were expecting that 1 week. Remember, Negan was going to come out in 1 week. But he came out earlier than they thought. So, if they were planning this, they would have planned it for the day when he arrives. But because he came earlier, it kind of like, oh shoot, you know, we weren't prepared or any of that. He just came earlier than we expected. If they were planning that, is what I'm saying. So even if they planned it on that day, Negan came earlier than they thought. And that probably would have been unprepared, and it would have been, they would have just not done it at all, or they would have tried, but it wasn't planned enough. And then, you know, then almost everybody gets killed. So, but I know there is some ways they could have done, you know, with the guns to hide more guns without accounting for Olivia's checklist on those in the armory. So I know Rosita did hit a gun. Obviously, we saw that. So there's still a gun there. And I believe Father Gabriel, it was kind of funny when Negan is like, holy crap, you scared the shit out of me. You know, you in that creepy ass smile. Collar and the creepy ass smile. That actually made me laugh. But, you know, it's kind of funny. You kind of start, and maybe a little bit too, when Father Gabriel finally started to shoot and kill walkers. You know, he's finally starting to stand up for himself. We're slowly warming up to Father Gabriel now. He's kind of like, hey, he's not bad after all, you know? So it's kind of weird. It's like, I'm kind of okay with him now. But yeah, they had that whole, he did a last minute thing where he dug graves, you know, when he was wiping his hands from the dirt, to tell Negan, you know, that Maggie's dead. Obviously Maggie's not dead. She's at, I believe she's at the Hilltop colony with Sasha. So both of them, they're over there. Which I saw the preview that the whole episode is going to take over there at the Hilltop with Negan's other group of saviors with his second right-hand man. Crap, what was his name? Shoot, I forgot his name, but I'll call him Trevor because, you know, he voiced Trevor from GTA 5, so I'm just going to call him Trevor. But anyways, yeah, he's going to be there, and they're going to, you know, take Alexandria's stuff, and I assume that's where Maggie's going to start her character development big time. From that point, obviously after Glenn's death, but I think that's where she's going to slowly start rising up and fight, and then eventually, again, spoiler, become the leader of the Hilltop. So I think that's where I think it's going to focus more on that, where it's kind of showing her development, plus obviously with the other group of saviors coming there too. So that, I think that episode will be interesting. Plus, we haven't seen Jesus in a while, so it's good to check up on him. But yeah, so they made up the lie just to hide, you know, just for Negan not to get near Maggie, because I don't know, sometimes you can't tell if Negan was just being just straightforward, like telling the truth, or he's just doing that to taunt Rick. But I think Negan was actually what he was saying about Maggie. I think it was intentional. I think he was being serious of that. Because I remember in the comics he does have multiple wives. I don't know if the show is in the same way or he only has just one, which is Sherry, which is Dwight's wife. Well, it used to be. But if it is, like I said, we won't know that until Carl goes in the truck and Negan starts showing the whole compound. I mean, we saw a little bit of it during the Daryl and Dwight episode last week, but I don't know if they're going to cover that. Because from that episode, we kind of we learn a lot more of what is going on, how the Saviors really operate and all that, in their compound. But we'll never know yet until they do something with it. So, or not, we don't know. But yeah, So yeah, it kind of shows where Rick just it felt like he gave up, and Michonne even said, "I'll try," to live with these new standards. And then one of the most douchiest moves is what we saw when Michonne came back outside to practice, I think, or hunt. She saw all the mattresses burnt. So they took all their mattresses they didn't even need it. They just took it just to burn it, which was, again, pretty douche move. But what could we expect from the Saviors? Although I don't remember from Negan, he was a big douche, a bully douche with a dark sense of humor and corny jokes once in a while. But I don't remember him being that just cruel. Like it's Negan's a weird character. Well, somewhat of a complex, interesting character, which makes him one of the most popular characters in The Walking Dead currently. Still, it's just something he has some morality and genuine in him. So whatever he says, this is the truth. He'll do it. But if he needs something, he'll take it if they need it. And he leaves stuff like he showed with Rick. He left all of their food for this week because he wants them, all healthy and all that to give them more stuff. But he's fair. In this case, it felt like they were just, they're just being douches just for the sake of being douches. And I think just for them, just to back it up, the writers are for the show, just to back it up just a tiny bit on that. It's like we get it. We're supposed to hate Negan. We're supposed to hate the Saviors. We got the picture, Especially this episode was just keep driving and driving it. So I think we kind of got the point now. Just let it flow naturally instead of trying to really push it to say, let's make this guy very hateable by doing this and doing this. So I don't. To be honest, it's kind of weird. Of all things, I don't think Negan would have done something like that. I mean, Negan's still Negan, but for that mannerism, just for the sake of being mean, not in that way, He likes to make his points through really strict, gore, violent actions, or psychological, actions through that, and fear. But I don't think he would have done something. It's like if they took all the medicine and they threw it in the river. Obviously, they wouldn't do that because medicine is very important for them too. But it's just an example of what I'm saying. Like they take something and they just, boom, throw it away or something just for the sake of being mean. It's like, we didn't need it the whole time. So I don't know. I don't think it's something that Negan would do with the mattress situation personally. But I guess, like I said, I think they're just trying to really point out of how these guys are, how mean they are, how, and just wanting us to really hate them, both Negan and Dwight. Like I said, with the Dwight thing, I don't think they should have done that. Maybe they should have made, Dwight still being a little mean and all that with Rosita, but not too much, where we kind of like fully hate him again. Where we slowly, just a little bit, like saying, okay, I kind of understand Dwight, and then we're back to hating him again, So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just keep watching, but I think for now, let him. We got the picture, so they don't have to keep going with that. I mean, they're still the bad guy, so I'm not saying let's turn them all good. Let Negan be a sensitive, honest man who does what he has to do, because he's still some sort of bullyish psychopath in the comics, like in the show here, just in a different take. So, but like I said, it is what it is. So what can we do? But I think those are all the main points that I can think of there. So, and there's a few lines that I like that they took from the comic, especially at the very end before he left. He told Rick, I just slid my dick down your throat, and you thanked me for it. And then he just walked off, straight out of the comics. I was like, wow, he actually said it. He actually said it. Oh, but I was just kind of like, wow, just like in the comics. So, yeah. But I honestly, overall, let's see, this episode, I felt like, what did I say? It's not a bad episode. I don't think it was a bad episode. I don't think it was a very good one. I thought it was a decent episode. Let's just say decent. So, I mean, that episode had to happen. I don't know if it needed to be 90 minutes. As much as I would love to see 90-minute episodes of The Walking Dead, if it's worth watching. But, I don't think they needed to stretch it too much with that. So, I mean, it could have been done in the regular 60-minute time slot just to get to that point. But they're just really extending it more of what Negan does, how the saviors are, which we already get. I know they're just pushing it to say, these guys are the bad guys. See, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing, So, But anyways, I thought the episode was decent. And slowly, like I said, it's setting up. It had to be done. It's setting up. I know later on, what I'm guessing is going to happen, Michonne is going to learn more with the sniper rifle. I don't know if Father Gabriel actually dug the graves and hit more guns there. Maybe. That's a maybe. I don't know. So maybe she'll get it back. She'll find another one. I don't know. So Michonne will keep practicing with the sniper rifle. So I think that's what's going to happen. I'm still not sure if Carl's going to sneak in the truck or not. That's the one I'm not 100% sure yet if they're going to go with that or not. So that's in the air right now. I know Rick, I can't recall if after Spencer's death is when Rick finally says, you know what, I had enough. Right after he knows the kingdom and all that. Now that he has the numbers. Because they made a big point where he says, even if we fought back, it was just me and Michonne says, what about the hilltop? And he says, that's still not enough. When he sees the kingdom, then he can say, you know what? That's actually, that should be equal amount. And then with Spencer's death on top of that, even though, it's like Rick doesn't care about Spencer that much, but, he just had enough of Negan just killing people just for the sake. Even though Spencer is going to betray Rick, Rick still didn't like it that Negan just killed another guy, without him being present. So, so I know around the second meeting is where he just finally, Rick comes back and says, you know what, let's take him down, and that's where they start planning for Negan's assassination. And then they fail the assassination, and that's where the all-out war starts. So, yeah. So I know that's going to happen soon. Like I said, next episode, I think it's just all going to focus on the hilltop, since we haven't seen what's been going on there for a while. So that's going to develop more into Maggie's character, I would say. So this is more the beginning of Maggie's character development. And then I don't know, the next episode will be back at the kingdom. So I don't know if it's per Community or we're finally going to see a little bit snippets of all together coming together. So I'm trying to remember. So I don't know if the one after the Hilltop episode, I don't know if it'll go back to the kingdom again, or if this is during Negan's second visit, coming back, with Spencer's death and all that. So I'm not sure yet. Well, we'll see. But trust me, guys, Rick will come back. He won't stay like that forever. So yeah. So we'll be looking forward to that for sure. So I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan, personally, my opinion, I think he's doing a very well done job as Negan, and Rick is doing pretty well in his role. I think everybody's doing well in their roles still. So far this season, I haven't felt one that was very a waste of time. Even though there's some that are not as hype action excitement like in the season premiere. But it was necessary. Episode 2, I thought it was necessary. We needed introduction. I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching the episode. And I felt like it was a filler. It may not have been up there, but it was necessary information that I felt was good. Episode 3, somewhat. It was important more for Dwight's character. Well, a little bit of what they do in the compound of the Saviors, and then what's going on with Daryl. And then this one, like I said, was also necessary just to see now the action of what Negan and Saviors, how they operate outside their compound, what they do in their pickups. So, yeah, little by little. So far this season, I think for me, it's actually it's going fairly well so far. They haven't, for me, dropped the ball yet, and I feel like, not, you know, and I feel like the majority of season 2 or crap, what was the other one? I don't know, it was season 4 or season 5. I think it was season 4. I kind of felt like the whole split, or the group split after the prison situation with the governor. I kind of felt that was gonna, you know, but I didn't feel like it's like that yet. So I think so far this season's going fairly well so far. So no complaints for me yet, as far as I know. And I think that's all I got to say about this episode that I can think of. I can't recall if I'm missing anything else important or whatnot, but like I said, I think this episode is also decent. You know, we get to see more Negan. I know there's some people that are complaining with Negan's character in the show, where they're just getting tired of his corny jokes, his little back gesture, you know, that whole thing with leans back and just kind of pops back forward when he says a line or something, you know. But hey, that's part of Negan's character. It's just how he is. At least he has a persona. Compared to the governor, was pretty. At least the show's version of the governor was pretty bland, and he was just very one-dimensional. Especially after when he got the eye patch after that incident. Because at least in the beginning, he has some character where he was trying to save his community and his daughter. He kept her, you know, as a locker. But it was around the second half where it just felt like, you know, he was just meh, you know. But at least with Negan, I think Negan kind of brought back for me to watch the show again every week, you know. I mean, I still watch the show every week, but I mean, like, it kind of brought back for me, like, yes, you know, we have an interesting character involved, you know, for me to watch the show. So, or at least an interesting villain is what I'm trying to say. So, I think the show's version of Negan is still pretty well done. So I like it. I personally like it. So no complaints on my end. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, because I think I'm just killing time here. So I can't think of anything else important to think of for this episode that I haven't said yet. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. So thank you guys for watching, and if you like the video, you know what to do. And as I always say to everyone here, I hope you guys have a nice day.